Alright, hello everyone, Simon here, and we interrupt our regular uploads to bring you an episode of Minecraft Design School. So I don't know how many of you remember, but some time ago I put out a Minecraft Design School episode where I talked about building staircases, and I set the exercise of finding a mountain and building a staircase to the top. So it's not a challenging, well, it might be challenging. It's not a massive exercise, but it was just a way to kind of practice building staircases and also think about how to fit kind of structures into awkward spaces, right? And so here, John has built us a staircase in a massive amplified world. So it does go all the way to the top. The cloud is in the way a little bit. So it does go all the way up to the top there, which we can barely see with the view distance. So let's read his message to me and see what he says. He says, "This is a very late reply to the stair homework in Minecraft Design School episode 21. I wanted to try my skill at building a staircase in an amplified world. I found the task very challenging, especially finding a good route that didn't just spiral over and over. Once I had a route, building the staircase was the easy part. The railings were also fairly easy, except I had to make a couple adjustments to accommodate some turnaround points along the path. The supports underneath, optional but for a true staircase needed, were the hardest parts. Low to the ground was not so bad. High up, I didn't want struts going 100 meters down." Can we see some of that? So if we look at like there, alright, so there the mountain kind of overhangs a bit, and so if he kind of puts the struts straight down, it will go down, down the cliff there, right? That's not very good. So my solution was bracing the platforms and stairs off the side of the mountain, which makes sense. I'm not sure how I did on getting it to look good, but I'm somewhat satisfied with it. Any low roof area is deliberate to keep the shape and feel of the mountain. As I built everything up, my technique evolved and changed slightly, though I still had to reference early points to see where everything fit on spots that seemed to just work straight away. I didn't really want diagonal stairs, but in a few spots some slight diagonalization, that's not a real word, was necessary. Finally, I only torched on fences in a specific pattern, and I didn't fence if the terrain went up one block next to the path. The way fences connect, I thought it looked better without. Well, we'll see what that means as we go closer to the staircase. I still need to get my builds I'm interested in your architectural opinions on, but I figured this is a nice starter, so he's going to send more stuff in, I think. It took me a few days to finish everything considering it goes very near max build height. The very top of the mountain was too sharp a point, so I built to the closest, flattest point I could. Alright, so that's his message. Let's just walk up the staircase before we look at it in detail. Let's just see how this goes. So he said for him the most difficult part was finding the path, finding the route. And once the route was found, then building it was not complicated. Well, we'll see. So the staircase is the birch. Oh crap, I'm a creative, crap. Sorry. Alright. Don't punch things. So it's birch and the spruce fences, right? Alright. So he starts from here. Oh, this is like the sea level, I see. So he starts from sea level and he goes all the way up the mountain. He chose not to diagonal. So then the path goes around, and that's a massive lava fall. Crazy. Alright, so then he starts hugging the mountain on one side. Oh, this is pretty good. I like this. I like the feel of this. I guess the amplified world gives everything a giant cliff. But having this on the giant cliff is quite scenic. Look at this. And you can see into the distance. Is that a massive mountain of sand? It is crazy. Alright, so here we get to this part where he wants to go up and he's going back and forth a little bit. He does stick to the mountain mostly. I'm not entirely sure about the choice of this particular route. I mean, I can understand that there's no good way to get up there, to be honest, because it's just a vertical cliff all the way up. So some winding back and forth is necessary. I think personally I would have chosen to cut into the mountain. Because I'm wondering if this sticks out a little bit too much. This here, I'm wondering if this sticks out a little bit too much. I guess it's not too bad. It's not too bad. There is research you can do on real-life staircases going up cliffs. Although there's no mountains quite this steep and torn. Actually, there are. In China, there's some really, really steep mountains. Alright, so now we're pretty high up already. So I think on a normal world, this would be the end of the exercise, but he's chosen an amplified world, so there's a long way to go yet. And then we go into here. He chose to. Oh, this is interesting. Alright, so we go up this way, and then around this mountain. So we switch over from the mountain on the left-hand side. Now the mountain's on the right-hand side. Through the clouds. Oh, this is pretty good. Through the cloud, and then there's a forest on the mountain. And this is pretty good. Yeah, I like this. And then he put the staircase on top of the ground, alright. See here, I would have cut into the mountain a little bit, like have the staircase flush with the ground. I think I would have done that. Not that it matters too much, it's just this is a really minor thing. A really minor aesthetic choice. It really doesn't really matter. So now we're on top of this one, but we still have to go over to that one. Cool. I do like how, as you go up the staircase, like the terrain changes. Like you start from there's a ground area, and there's a cliff area, and then there's this cloud forest area and then there's this like the top, and then there's the overhangs. So as you go along the staircase, you go through a lot of different types of terrain, which I find very interesting. I mean, just from a scenic point of view, it's quite interesting to go through all these different places, right? See, like this is pretty cool. So you go from a cliff on one side to the overhang, and then you open up into the top of the mountain, and then you go back to the overhang, and you open up, and so you get this kind of, it's like this pressing down. He said he chose to do this. What did he say? Let's see. He said this was on purpose. Any low roof area is deliberate to keep the shape and feel of the mountain. Yeah, so he deliberately kept the low roof here, which is kind of cool, I think. And then we go up. Still a long way to go. And then he comes up to here. See, now we're back to the cliff area. And the views, look at the views, it's amazing. What a great exercise. What a great idea it is to make this exercise. Who thought of that? What a smart guy. Just because it's interesting, building the staircase, like, you don't have to build a massive structure. Like, you're leveraging the shape of the mountain itself, which is already interesting, and then you're just putting a path around it to show off this interesting shape. So it's like you don't have to build very much to create a very interesting experience, because you're using the shapes that's already there in the land. So that's fun. And we're still going up. And there's a floating mountain there. And we're still going up. And we can't even see the ground anymore. Look at that. What a great time. It's just a really low cost way to build something awesome, you know what I mean? Is this floating in the air, or is it sitting on something? I think it's sitting on something, right? I'll come back and fly around it later on. And then we get to another mountaintop. And now we're finally almost there. I'm pretty sure John did not find this mountain by chance. I think he actually just looked for a good mountain to build this on, because it's a good path. Like, the choice of the path is really good. Just shows off the views really well. And the variety as well in the shapes of the land as you go up. Ah, so he says he'll try to avoid diagonals because diagonal stairs in Minecraft are a little bit complicated. But then he said this was unavoidable. Huh. I might have actually tried to, if it were me, I would have tried to have the stairs come this way. Like if I would have tried to make the stairs like do that and go up just to make the diagonal look a little bit more convincing. But this is okay too. Haha, a hole. And then we come up to here. I think, is this cut into the mountain or not? I think John tried to keep the shape of the mountain more than I would have. As I said a few times already, I think I would have cut into the mountain a little bit more than he did. Again, not a big deal, just a personal preference thing, I guess. And then we get to the top. Oh, alright, well, he said... He said something about not actually going to the very top, but I think this is the very top, isn't it? It looks like the very top to me. Alright, and then we're here. Done. Cool, and nothing but sky above. How high are we? We are 239. How far higher can we go? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Alright, and then we're in space. Now we're in outer space. Alright, so we're almost at the very top of the height limit. Great. So now let's look underneath this staircase. So he went all the way to the top, built a platform up there, that's cool. Kinda wanna jump down. So let me just follow it all the way back down and see what it looks like. So that part of the stair sits in the ground. And then it comes out on this platform, thing like that. That's cool. That's a little bit ambitious. Maybe that needs a bit of support there. I'm just looking at it as though it was the real world structure, right? I think some of this is a little bit ambitious. That needs more support down there, for example. Can we... What's a good example? Let me just go to Google. And try to look up some mountain staircases. In China, HuangShan is a famous mountain in China, also known as Yellow Mountain. Not quite as steep as this. A cliff in HuangShan, and then the staircase is going up. Okay, well, just as an example of real world mountains that look kind of like this. Oh, cool! There are staircases too. There's a cable car as well. Alright. Well, I guess there isn't much structure in real life. So okay, let me just type it here. So, just pause the video right now and go to Google and type in, go to Wikipedia and look for HuangShan, HuangShan, also known as the Yellow Mountain in China. And if you go to the Wikipedia page and you scroll down, you can see the staircase that goes up HuangShan, and you can see the cliffs. Like, basically the whole thing is just cliffs. And you can see some of it is, there's some carved stairs going into the rock, and then there's also some wooden staircases that hang off the cliff. And basically every now and then you have beams going in. So if I find some beams, let me just find where's your birch wood? So what they would do is they would like drill a hole into the stone like that, maybe deeper, and then they'll put a log, stick a log in, and then they'll build a path on the log, right? So the log, because the log has strength, like you try to bend the tree, you have a hard time bending a tree, right? So it's basically you take a chunk of a tree and you jam it into a hole into the rock, and then you put your planks on top of these beams. And so you punch a hole in the rock, and you jam a log in, and then you put your your pathway on top of that. And so in the real world, that's how they would have done it. So jam it in, and then put the staircase on that. So that's how they do it in real life. Not sure if John knew that. I don't think because he never did it. So that's how they do it in real life. If you're interested, and now you know. Now you know how it's done. So yeah, go look up HuangShan in Wikipedia and just to see how they do it. Might be interesting if you're interested in structural things. It's called cantilever. So they cantilever the staircase off the cliff by putting logs into the mountain and then building on top of that. And so if I saw some logs going in there, then I would this would be much more believable to me. Just looking at the underside of it, because a lot of this is quite ambitious. Having planks just stick out like that, maybe it's a little bit ambitious, especially when you can't control the direction of the planks, so the planks go this way. I mean, if you use planks, I suppose you can do it, but the planks would need to go this way. But Minecraft doesn't really let you choose which direction the planks go in, so it just looks weird in Minecraft. So I would have just used the log so that it looks less weird than this. Not that it matters too much. Again, it's not your fault. It's kind of it's like Minecraft's fault. So most of this is the same. So there's a bridge. So you bridge across here. Again, it would be much more believable if there was a logs or two logs going across there, and then putting your planks on top of the log so that it's actually sitting on some structure. Again, not a big deal. Not a big deal. So at the cliffs, I believe he kept. Yeah. So I don't see any carving into the side of the mountain. Which, if you look at HuangShan, there is a little bit of carving into the mountain, not very much though. And there are some staircases that are just carved into the side of the hill. So that's a different way of doing it. But John did say that he wanted to keep the shape of the mountain. It's a choice. I mean, it's not a good or bad sort of thing. But you can cantilever off the side of the mountain, or you can kind of carve a path into the side of the mountain and have it go up like that. So that's just a different way of building staircases in cliffs. At the top of the mountain, I believe he's sunken the path partly into the ground, or at least made it flush with the top of the ground. So that there is fairly simple. So there, that, instead of having a giant column like that, again, I think if we were in the real world, it would make more sense to, again, put a log into the ground there and then have it sit on the log and have the log kind of into the mountain. But that works too, especially here where it's not that high up. Maybe it makes more sense to do this. Interesting. Yeah, and so actually, this looks like it's cut into the mountain. I'm not sure if it is or not. Like this, it looks like it's cut in the mountain a little bit and put the stairs up there. And then have it come down. Yeah, so this is it's a little bit strange. But we can see how he's thinking about how to support this thing, or how to make it look like it's supporting this thing. And then here the stairs stick out. Alright, and so this is slightly different again. This sticks out diagonally now. Maybe it's a bit over-engineered, like it looks like a really big buttress. Big buttress. It looks like a really big a big support for that little bit. And if it's a pedestrian staircase, if you only expect people to walk up the thing, you actually don't need very much structure. If you look at look at the pictures on Wikipedia from HuangShan, there's actually not very much structure underneath the staircase. it's just enough to hold people up, right? And people aren't that heavy compared to the strength of wooden logs. So a large buttress like this is almost over-engineered. Like you kind of need, you don't need quite that much support. So here we're on the top of the mountains and it's kind of flush with the ground. Hmm. Yeah, I still think I would have pushed this one block further into the mountain. This particular diagonal here, this one, this staircase, I would have pushed it one more block into the mountain so that it's more sunken into the mountain. It's a personal preference. Interesting, they're all different. So as we come down the staircase, all the supports are different. This is interesting. So this is like a different thing again. So, there was the cantilevering off the cliff, and then there was the single column, and now there's like this two column with struts in the middle. So there's different supports in different parts of the staircase. That's kind of funny. All right, so now we're back into the struts. Like he filled in a lot of stuff in the mountain. Like why? What's that about? I guess there was like a hole there. Anyway, so this stuff is maybe a bit ambitious. I would have put some logs. Again, I would put some logs going into the mountain there. And then we're back to the single column. And now we're sitting in this very interesting. There's a lot of variety, right? You can see that. There's a lot of variety in the different shapes. And it goes down, it comes across. Very interesting. This is the part where I think it sticks out from the mountain a little bit too much, although I wonder how I would have done it. See, look, this goes across flat for a long time before going up again. I think if I were to do it, I would probably have tried to, I would probably have kept going up, sticking to the side and kept going up. I think that's what I would have done. Maybe double back once here. Maybe like go up there, go into the mountain, turn out, and then do that. If it were me. But that's again personal preference. There's no real right or wrong, right? I mean, you build the staircase, it goes up the mountain, you've accomplished the objectives. It's just that how I would have done it. I think I would have just tried to keep going up instead of having, because this seems a little too elaborate. Like it seems to stick out a little bit too much. Although you notice that we are near the start. I think he started from the ground and went up, and so it seemed to me like as he went up the mountain, it seems like he got better at planning the spaces. So, like this, I think is less than optimal in my opinion, and you can disagree if you want. I think that's, in my opinion, that's less than optimal. But as we get up here, I think it becomes more and more efficient as we go up. Maybe I'm hoping that as he built this thing, and as he got more practice with it, that he got better at planning the spaces, and so he did a better job, at the upper half than he did at the start. I hope that building the staircase actually helped him figure out, like, it just seems like this part here, for example, is a lot more efficient than the part at the very start. Do you get that feeling? Like it just seems like it hugs the mountain a lot better than the very start. That's what I see anyway when I look at it. That's how I feel. All right. I think I shouldn't say too much more about this, but it's I like this. I like this. I like this, and I like that you chose the challenge of trying to build in an amplified world too, just to give yourself more mountain to build on. And I think it looks like your staircase improved as you progressed. And the structural things are slightly weird. Hopefully, if you look up HuangShan, that you see how it's done in real life, and maybe then you learn something about structures. All right, I think I'll end the video here. I like it. I do like it. And apart from the design and everything, I just like walking up this thing. I think the path you've chosen is very scenic, as well as being practical. And so it's just an enjoyable, walk up the mountain. Good thing it's not a real life mountain, otherwise it would be really tired by the time we get to the top, right? All right, so I end the video here, and I'll see you guys in the future videos. Oh, before I finish, so the Minecraft Design School, I don't make very many videos because not many people send stuff in. But if you have any builds, any sort of builds that you want me to comment on, and if you have any kind of questions, design questions you want to ask me, and architecture questions you want to ask me, feel free to send them in. I'll put the instructions and frequently asked questions in the video description for how to send that stuff in. And yeah, we just if you're interested, send your builds in and we talk about architecture. And send your questions in and I'll try to answer your questions the best I can. Right, I'll see you guys.